this morning and see what is topping them. You can see the business day. S&P worries about South Africa's spending habit. And then grasp huge hydrogen potential, says PwC. And then finally, Chinese growth speeds up, but virus is still a drag. All right, let's look at the other front pages. Billion. Wow.
I want to be Makate right now.
Well, gosh, I don't know if he's going to get that. 63.4 billion.
Can Vodacom just pay the man already?
They can, yeah, but 63.4 billion? What are they worth? Let's see what Vodacom's actually.
That amount has just been increasing and increasing.
It just keeps on increasing. Wow.
So
that's a lot of money.
Because I see, I'm curious to read that story about the lie.
Yeah, me
that's
too.
Been exposed.
That was another one. Yeah.
So we've heard a lot of stories around this, but of course we'll see exactly where this one leads to. But can you imagine how you'd be salivating, how we'd be salivating at the prospect of getting paid 63 billion rand.
Wow. Oh, there we go. We can dream. All right, let's have a look at quickly the trending topics that we have for you this morning. So, fees must fall. And this seems to be the same thing every single time that documentary on SABC 1 is basically shown, and it relives those moments from the protests, the university students protesting for fees must fall. And this documentary, and you know, I'm so sad to tell you that I still have not seen it, because we know we spoke about it last week, speaking about it again, and you know, this is obviously, people get so moved by this documentary.
Beautifully done by Rihad Desai, and he's known for, you know, doing some really fantastic documentaries, and just going through it and people talking about, which I found very interesting, their lived experience, you know, being proud of having been part of this whole movement of fees must fall, and also recounting how some of the leaders, how and when they encountered some of the leaders for the first time, like the EFF's Vuyani Pambo, you know, the likes of Fasiha Hassan, and many of the other leaders of that particular movement. So very interesting just reading through the comments of students and what they are saying. But then there are those, of course, many are asking questions about what are the demands now.
Yeah, and that's the reality, and how much has actually happened since those days of the protests. All right, the next trending topic is hawks, and the hawks have been landing all over the country and swooping in and doing what they do. And there was another swoop in yesterday, and this happened in the afternoon. And I'm just trying to pull up the story.
Ratlo municipality,
there we go,
where they actually arrested the mayor there. And again, this is related to some 5 million rand issue of malfeasance, and people are just commenting on that. His lawyer last night, the mayor of Ratlo municipality, saying that this is politically motivated. But of course, people have been talking about the hawks more generally and all the arrests that have been effected and their expectations. About a day ago or so, you had the Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule, saying, you know, basically decrying these Hollywood-style arrests that are being effected by the hawks. So, yeah, the hawks seem to be very, very busy.
They're very busy, and with promises of many more to come. That's what they keep on telling us. So we keep watching every single day with what the hawks are up to. And then, of course, Sudan. This is a big one. We ran this in our news bulletin as well. Just to quote once again, if you missed this one, President Trump going ahead and saying, great news, new government of Sudan, which is making great progress, agreed to pay $335 million US dollars to the US terror victims and families. Once deposited, I will lift Sudan from the state sponsors of terrorism list. At long last, justice for the American people and a big step for Sudan. Sudan, in response to this, welcome it and say, getting off that list is going to do us good because it has not been good for us to be there. But it does raise a lot of questions as well.
It certainly does. We've always spoken about a restitution and reparations and who it always, seems to fall for, as opposed to other nations in the world where it never seems to happen.
Yeah.
So it raises many questions along that front, but of course this is why that's been a big story. It's been trending on various fronts, on Trump as well. So it's a big story, that one. But I think Sudan desperately in need of that aid.
Yeah, they certainly do. But let's leave it there for now, because we've got a discussion. Sakina's got a discussion coming up, and it's very much so, again, taking from what we were talking about yesterday, and it's all about the privatization of, whether we're talking about Transnet or whether we're talking about any state-owned entity, the privatization, the advantages and disadvantages thereof. So stay tuned. You've got some good guests coming up.
Pros, cons. We're going to speak to Leon Lowe of the Free Market Foundation. We also have Zwelinzi Mavavi of SAFTU. Let's talk about it so that, we get a more holistic view of what is at play. What should we be privatizing, if anything at all, and why? What's the motivation for this privatization? So let's talk about it, because it seems to be moving towards a very real thing right now with what the president has announced.
Looking forward to that conversation. Don't go anywhere. See you after the break.